this cat before starting the Evolve Artist program. I painted this cat just after completing the foundation blocks. Hi, I'm Amber. I'm a professional artist living and working in Brooklyn, New York, and I'd like to share with you my thoughts and perspectives on the Evolve Artist program, along with some pictures and videos of my journey. Before signing up for this program, I'd been painting mostly bold, abstract paintings, and I wasn't going for realism. I had taken a few drawing courses with other online programs, but I'd never touched oil paints in my life. At the end of 2022, I realized that I wanted more tools in my artistic toolkit. I didn't know if realism would be my final style, but I knew I wanted to be a full-time artist, and versatility felt really important for that. I came across an ad for Evolve Online, and after reading that they guarantee you'll have professional level art skills after completing the foundation blocks, I figured I had nothing to lose, and I signed up. The Foundations program is divided into 4 blocks. The first block consists of grayscale paintings only. You do 20 of those paintings, and you paint from photos that Evolve provides you. In block 2, you begin drawing and painting from life. You'll set up a still life box, which is really just a cardboard box with a little light. You'll place different objects from your home inside, and then the Evolve program teaches you how to draw those objects in proportion and then paint them. Again, in block 2, you still don't use any color, it's all grayscale, and you'll complete 20 assignments in that block as well. 10 of those assignments are drawings, the next 10 are paintings. Block 3 is where you get into color. You'll complete 20 paintings in block 3 as well, and these paintings alternate between still life objects that you find in your home and painting from photographs that Evolve provides. And block 4 is the really exciting block where you start to create highly realistic paintings from photos that Evolve provides you. You'll do 8 paintings in this block. So in the course of just over a year, I completed 70 different assignments with the Evolve program to get to where I am today with my painting skills. And I'd like to go through each block a little more in depth with you, show you some examples, talk about the struggles that I faced, and whether or not I think this program is actually worth it. So here's how it works. After signing up, they ship you literally everything. Old Holland oil paints, brushes, canvases, reference images, transfer paper, linseed oil, everything you'll need except for a small tabletop easel. If you don't already have one, you can get one pretty cheap on Amazon. Once you receive your materials, you can log into Evolve's online portal, where you'll receive your first lesson from Kevin Murphy, who is the founder of Evolve Artist. Now, the lessons from Kevin are all in the form of pre-recorded videos, so you can watch them at your leisure. In the videos, he'll explain and demonstrate the skills you'll need for the upcoming assignments, and then after watching his tutorial, you'll get to work. Each assignment is released to you one by one, and you don't move on to the next assignment until you've submitted your previous assignment for review by one of the instructors that are trained by Kevin himself. Submitting your assignment is simple. You just take a picture of it and you upload it through the homework portal. Once the instructors receive your assignment, they review it in depth. It's also quick, so if you're impatient like me, you don't generally have to wait more than a day to receive your feedback. Unless you're submitting on a weekend, then sometimes it might take until the next business day. If you're struggling with the technique and you still have questions after you receive your feedback, Evolve offers live one-on-one coaching from an instructor of your choice. This coaching happens in the form of a video call, and if you're not comfortable being on video, you can also ask all the questions you want via email or through the homework tool. If you don't have any additional questions, you're free to move on to the next assignment. There's also a sense of community that I did not expect to find with an online art program. Every day, Monday through Sunday, there are student-led study groups where you can join other members of the program and ask questions, work on your homework together, or just hang out virtually. In my opinion, this is a really cool opportunity to make a lot of like-minded friends that are into the same thing as you. They're also from all over the world, so that's really cool too. You get to see other people's perspectives and pick their brains about all sorts of things. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty. In block 1, you start out very simply, setting up your palette, mixing oil into the oil paints, learning how to use your brushes to apply the paint to the canvas. You practice making sharp edges and gradients by filling in little squares and rectangles for your first few assignments. To be honest, this part was a little boring for me, but I understand why it's included and I do think it's necessary. If you've never used oil paint before, like myself, oil paint moves very differently than some other mediums, like acrylic, watercolor, or alcohol ink. So it's essential that you do become familiar with the medium that you're using, so these first few assignments are crucial. Then you move on to simple shapes like cubes and spheres, before advancing to more interesting objects like vases and rolls of tape. Each piece becomes more and more interesting, and honestly, after I completed the sphere and the cube, I was super excited because they looked so good. I did struggle more than I thought I would with creating gradients in the beginning. They weren't smooth, they looked very choppy, and I did get a little frustrated after about the second or third painting. It just wasn't looking the way that I thought it would look in my head. But honestly, all I needed was practice, because after a few paintings, my gradients were looking much, much better. There's definitely a reason why you complete 20 different paintings in this block. It's really only through repetition that you'll understand how much pressure to use, how much oil you really need to mix in, and the appropriate amount of paint to even have on your brush. I found that I was using either too much paint or not enough paint, and I was scrubbing some of the paint away. Sometimes I was pressing way too hard, and other times I wasn't pressing hard enough, so it was leaving some streaks. You learn through experience in this block. And I would definitely say that all of the paintings paid off, because for my last assignment of block 1, I painted this pumpkin. I was stunned at how beautiful it came out. I truly couldn't believe that I did that. So naturally, I was jazzed for block 2. Block 2 was interesting for me. Kevin teaches a method of proportional drawing that I was not familiar with, and I was definitely clunky with it in the beginning. I actually asked the instructors if I had to use his drawing method or if I could just use the drawing method that I already knew, but the instructors insisted that I stick with the program at least until I get to the end of the foundations block, so I listened. It's still not my preferred method of drawing, but I have to say, if you're a very beginner and you don't know how to draw at all, this method is very clear-cut and it does give you accurate results. There's nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't what I was used to. In this block, your first 10 assignments are all drawings from life. These are items like cups and napkin holders, tissue boxes, wine glasses, any objects that you can find in your house. After you complete your 10 drawings, you move on to 10 paintings. You're also doing those paintings from life with the proportional drawing techniques that you were taught. You don't need extravagant still life items, and honestly, I don't recommend extravagant still life items for this stage of the game because you're still learning. So I was starting to get a bit bored by the end of the block. I had painted several cups. I was running out of things that were exciting. But again, it's all about the learning, so I understand the process. I'm really glad I pushed through because block 3 was all about color. And as you might be able to tell from the paintings above me here, I love color. From the very first lesson in block 3, Kevin begins teaching you how to set up your palette with colors and mix any color that you can think of. In the beginning, you only put color in the lit areas of the object. There's no color in the shadows yet. In my opinion, this is a great approach. It allows you to focus on just one skill at a time, instead of getting overwhelmed and juggling too much information in your head. You'll complete 20 paintings in this block, and you'll alternate between painting from photos that Evolve provides and still life objects found in your home. This was really enjoyable for me. It felt like a good balance between practicing my drawing skills and practicing my color mixing and painting skills, and I didn't get bored like I did in block 2 towards the end. Now, color mixing can be a challenge. This is where I saw a lot of my peers struggling the most. And Kevin's approach is for you to play around with the colors on your palette and continue mixing little piles of paint and testing them against your subject or your photo until the color is right. He doesn't tell you, for this apple, you're going to mix cadmium red and titanium white and Naples yellow. No, there's no formulas that are given to you. It's up to you to figure out your palette and what the colors do when you mix them together for yourself. Evolve definitely provides you more than enough paint to do this. And Kevin always emphasizes to not worry about wasting paint. For the students that do struggle with color mixing, there are live color mixing classes that are recorded so you can go back and rewatch them as many times as you need to, and they're taught by various instructors that have slightly different methods. I found this to be extremely helpful because sometimes you just need to hear something explained to you in a different way. For me, it clicked. I was amazed when I finished my last few paintings of Block 3. I mean, look at these dolphins. This was definitely an exciting moment for me, but Block 4 was next and I knew I'd have to step my game up once again. Block 4 is the block I was waiting for almost a year. This was where we would create highly realistic, professional level paintings from photos that Evolve provides. I have to say, this block was surprisingly simple and straightforward. And I say simple, but not easy. It was simple because the process was taught to me over the course of a year, block by block, step by step. And Block 4 was the culmination of all the skills I'd learned so far, plus a few more small techniques that were easy to add on. For these paintings, we really had to take our time. And for me personally, when I say take our time, I mean I really took my time. Each painting took me on average 35 to 45 hours to complete. It really started to make sense why there were only 8 paintings in Block 4. We started out with 2 grayscale paintings, I think to remind us how important values really are even when you're moving into color. And then we completed the last 6 fully rendered with beautiful colors. We used the direct painting method, so you're not working in layers, and you'd work from one side of the canvas to the other, or from object to object. And oh my goodness, I was very impressed with myself and the results that I was able to produce. I know they look impressive, but they're not perfect, and I did still sometimes struggle with color matching, but the instructors were always there to help if I needed anything, and they gave me feedback that I could apply to the painting I was working on and take with me into the next assignment. Each painting I did, I thought, got better and better. My final painting of the Foundations program was this man named Gary. After I completed this portrait, I was confident that I had the oil painting skills that I needed to begin selling my work, and I did not want my money back. In fact, I realized what a deal I had actually gotten with this program. Now that I've finished the Evolve Foundations program, here are the biggest pros and a few potential drawbacks, in my opinion. Evolve is very structured. They completely take the guesswork out of oil painting. Kevin teaches you exactly what you need to do, and if you follow his instructions, you will get the result you're looking for. But he's very direct, he's no nonsense. You're here to make perfect paintings. If you notice that you make a mistake, his mindset is to correct it right then in that moment. Don't wait and think you'll correct it later. You have to be willing to put in the work to fix it right now so it doesn't develop into a larger problem later on down the road. As I mentioned before, you also get high quality feedback from the instructors. They really take the time to comment on every aspect of your painting. They don't just say, "This is great," or "It could use some work." They'll tell you exactly how you did with your edges, your gradients, values, colors, and your brushwork. Another huge pro is that they provide you all of the materials, as I mentioned before. You shouldn't have to spend additional money on anything, aside from maybe a small tabletop easel. You will need a cardboard box for your shadow box. However, it could be any cardboard box. You don't have to purchase something special. And you'll need a light to go inside your box. I had one lying around from many years ago. And if you don't have one, I know IKEA sells one with a flexible neck that's about $10. It's also self-paced, as I mentioned. So all in all, this coursework took me just over a year to complete. But during that time, I took several months off to completely move states. I traveled a ton, and I was working my full-time job for 60 to 80 hours every week, and then coming home and painting these assignments on the nights and the weekends. That does lead me to some potential drawbacks. And the main one is that this program requires a lot of discipline. You'll only get back what you put in, so if you're hoping to sit down and complete a homework assignment in an hour or two, you're really not going to see the results that you want. You don't have to complete an assignment in one session, but you should expect to be spending several hours on each painting in the blocks leading up to Block 4. I would say on average, until I got to Block 4, my paintings were taking me 6 to 10 hours each to complete. Sometimes I'd redo a painting for myself if I didn't like the result, and that would add several more hours to the process. If you're only going to take Kevin's lessons as advice and not clear instructions on what exactly to do, your paintings won't look great. He has a clear-cut method for a reason, and you'll get the best results out of this program if you follow his method step by step. The other potential drawback is that this program might not be affordable for everybody right off the bat. Currently, Evolve charges $2,500 for the foundations blocks, and that's a large investment. Now, compared to traditional art schools where you'll be spending tens of thousands of dollars, it is a steal, but I understand not everybody has $2,500 lying around to invest into something like this. Evolve does take that into consideration though, and they do offer a monthly payment plan to make things more affordable. So, would I recommend this program, and if so, for who? I would say that if you're serious about learning the foundational skills to create realistic artwork, really in any medium, and from life or from photos, then I do wholeheartedly recommend the Evolve program. It's not a shortcut, but if you're willing to put in the work, results are absolutely worth it. It is 100% the reason I was confident enough to leave my corporate job and begin painting full-time. That said, if you're looking for a program that encourages loose, expressive work, spontaneous creativity, or a more relaxed, exploratory approach to art, Evolve probably isn't the right fit. Evolve is very structured and very technical, and laser focused on helping you develop mastery through repetition and precision. For me, that clarity and structure was exactly what I needed. But with that said, it's really important to understand what you're signing up for, because it's not for everyone, and that's okay. I would not be backing Evolve if it didn't change my life in the way that it had. I am so grateful for the skills that I was able to gain over the past few years through the Evolve program, and it's allowing me to do what I love professionally. If you think you're ready to try the Evolve Artist program, you can find my affiliate link below. Using that link helps support this channel, and it helps keep me sharing resources with you. I'm planning to cover more programs like Evolve, plus share the methods I've developed in my own art practice. So if you're an artist on a learning path, like this video, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment down below.